we'll grapple with this as part of several deliberations we're going to have. I'm sure people are probably keen to have a lunch break. Before we do, can I just pick up one final matter under this issue that hopefully won't take too long. It was RMIQ 2.4. Notwithstanding the discussion we'll have tomorrow in relation to housing need and the housing requirements, the council's position is it does accept the standard method as the mechanism to identify the scale of housing need. And we then asked as part of our questions whether on that basis, because the standard method is forward looking, should the base of the plan period also be sort of brought forward to the latest kind of standard method output, which will be last year, so that the plan period starts on the 1st of April 2024. If I understand, Mr. Brewer, your statement correctly, that's something the council would be minded to accept as a modification with a consequential impact, primarily for policy H1.
Yes, that's correct. As set out in our response to 2.4, if we are taking that forward-looking approach, then 1st April 2024, and that would then cover off 13 years, and then, as you say, would have the consequential revision to H1 of the housing requirement times 13, effectively.
So I think we have said that we don't actually think it's necessary for soundness. And can I just, it's an element of caution just on that. I'm conscious that elsewhere, particularly when one thinks about habitat regulations matters and the scale of growth that is included, one just needs to be very careful. And I'm not saying this is a reason why you can't do it, but one would need to be careful to ensure that any assessments of growth that inform things like the habitat regulations assessment in particular fully accounted for all of the growth from as it were, an agreed baseline, even if that baseline date might be earlier than the start of the plan period, because you need to ensure, I know that the issue has arisen particularly in the context of nutrient enrichment from road traffic impacting on SACs, that the amount of traffic growth that you consider needs to, as it were, start from a baseline that includes then all the forward growth and not simply the growth that might relate to a planned period. In other words, to ensure that you've captured everything. So I say I'm not saying that this is a factor that would preclude you having a wholly forward-looking plan, but you might still need to ensure that the evidence base, particularly on environmental matters, looks back in time to ensure that all of the growth from a baseline is properly included. So that's just a caution rather than a reason why you can't do it. But that's our points.
Thank you. Noted. I'll add that into the thought process. Are there any further points people wish to make in relation to plan period before we take a lunchtime adjournment? In which case, when we return after lunch, so we'll be back in this room at 2 o'clock. I'm going to deal with the matter 2 in relation to economic growth, and then into matter 8, which will be some of the employment policies. And I'll have to take a view whether we've got sufficient time today to talk about Gypsy and Travellers, or whether we put that into another session. So apologies if anybody's here specifically for Gypsies and Travellers. I'm not sure they are this morning. So when we return at lunch, it will be full-on employment policies for the remainder of the afternoon till, I think, Mr. Brewer, correct me, we've got to vacate, or we've got to finish in this room. Is it by 4 o'clock today? Okay.
I think we're okay today.
We're okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so I'll adjourn now. Return, please, back in this room at 2 o'clock. Those of us who are joining us for further discussion on employment matters. Thank you.